What is up guys, Deadset here with another guide, this time dedicated to the new set introduced in patch 2.1, the Rolands. The set is rightfully criticized for its lack of synergy, but I still believe you can make something decent out of it. Let me demonstrate what exactly in GR37. The basis of the build is the snapshotting mechanic of Phalanx Bowmen, working with the attack speed build-up of the 6-piece Roland set. The second focus of the build is the interaction between the strong crowd control of the trip attack rune of sweep attack with the ancient Parthan defender bracers for a strong supplement to the survivability of the illogically glass cannon Roland set. Let's go over the build. As I mentioned, the spender of the build is going to be sweep attack. An underdog of the Crusader spenders, this skill has an amazing crowd control rune in the face of trip attack, which offers you a 50% chance to stun for 2 seconds any enemy caught within the sizable arc of the skill. While the damage percentage of the skill is decent, we will be focusing on Phalanx for damage output and only use sweep attack for stuns, survivability through the ancient Parthans, and clearing the weaker trash enemies. As a general rule, try to sweep as many mobs as you can. This way you'll not only protect yourself, but also heal through the Wrathful passive, regain your resources with the Golden Flance Flail, and maintain the 5 stacks of attack speed that are utterly important for the Bowmen. Speaking of Bowmen, those trusty 8 fellas, yes 8 because of the unrelenting Phalanx shield, are going to provide the major portion of the hurt from this build. The pet runes of Phalanx are among the few synergistic skills in the Crusader repertoire, with the attack speed provided by the Roland's 6-piece bonus. While it can be seen as a blessing or a curse, the Bowman attack speed uses your attack speed at the time of casting, and using the skill while at 5 stacks of Rolands is going to provide you with substantially faster shooting Bowmen than a regular cast. The synergy is so potent, in fact, that it's warranted to seek out physical damage and Phalanx bonuses across your gear. The Bodyguard rune is similarly synergistic, and while it will provide bigger burst per soldier attack, the Bodyguard's tendency for pathing issues leads me to vastly prefer the Bowman. Laws of Valor with critical rune is the most synergistic law offense-wise, constantly contributing to attack speed and some additional burst with the active component. I tend to use it whenever it's off of cooldown and I'm in a fight with more than a few stragglers. While Unstoppable Force would provide you with easier sweep attack management, the Golden Flance Flail should suffice in the majority of the situations, and in smaller fights against elites or Greater Rift Guardians, where you do run out of wrath, you should focus on maintaining the 5 stacks and let the Bowmen do their job. As a final note, a viable alternative if you find your defenses lacking is Laws of Justice with Decaying Strength, the strongest mitigation law in high Greater Rifts. Iron Skin with Steel Skin is a wonderful source of percentage-based mitigation, a whopping 50% in fact, elongated by the Steel Skin rune. With its 30-second cooldown, it's on the verge of viability for a set that cannot overly commit to cooldown reduction, but juggling it with the cooldown of Akarat's champion is the way to go with this set, and you'll feel so much safer anytime it's up. I have mentioned this before, but if Iron Skin interplay was somehow integrated in Rolands, perhaps turning it into a spender and thus making Rolands the resource cost reduction set as opposed to Akan's CDR focus, the set would be even more viable and interesting to play with. Changes might or might not be coming, but for now you'll have to play more carefully and watch those cooldowns. On the topic of cooldowns, one of them seems inescapable. Akarat's champion with Prophet has once again made its way into a build. Even if it's up every other elite, instead of constantly protecting you, there is nothing that comes even close to the utility of 150% extra armor, a second life, a bit of wrath regen, and 35% damage increase. You have to suppress your Akan instinct to use it on cooldown and use it strictly against elites, but when you do, the difference is going to be noticeable. Try to make the most out of your 20 seconds and burst down the elite as much as you can. The final piece of the puzzle is, of course, Steed Charge. Here you have several viable choices between Rhyming Speed, Drawing Quarter, and Endurance. I stick to my usual choice, which is the longer lasting Endurance rune. When it comes to passives, I use the following setup. Heavenly Strength, allowing me to wield the two-handed Golden Lance Flail and the Unrelenting Phalanx Shield at the same time. Wrathful, healing me up quickly because of the high costs of the quick sweep spam. Don't be fooled by the stability of my Wrath in big fights. The cost is refunded, not reduced, through the Golden Lance, and I get the full benefits of Wrathful in this non-Akans setup. Lord Commander is a self-explanatory choice in a build that focuses on phalanx percentage for additional bowman damage, along with some additional utility from more frequent steed charges. Of course, stacking phalanx damage suffers from diminishing returns, so you might replace it with a passive like Indestructible if you feel too vulnerable. Rounding out passives is Finery, a mainstay in all Crusader builds that is solidifying its place even further because of the legendary gems and the growing number of sockets across our gear. This is it for the build, now let's go over the gear itself. This is a Rolands build and thus we'll be using the full 6-piece Rolands Legacy set. Helm, chest, pants, boots, shoulders, and gloves. This opens up the ability to stack up attack speed throughout the fight and snapshot it with the Bowmen, eliminating the need for Tasker and Theo gloves and the Ring of Oral Grandeur, which would be the usual choice for a pet-oriented build. Not having to use the Ring of Royal Grandeur allows us to use the two other very important rings. The first is the Eternal Union, tripling the duration of Bowmen and practically ensuring that you always have them by your side. The other is, of course, a Unity, one for yourself and one for your follower, along with an immortality item for him for the incomparable damage reduction when soloing. Rounding out the jewelry, seek an amulet with crit chance, crit damage and physical bonuses and reroll the main stat for a socket where a legendary gem would find its place. I'm currently using a decently rolled Blackthorn amulet along with a Blackthorn belt, adding a nice 250 vitality and 10% increased damage against elites. Don't consider the Blackthorn combination a requirement though. The Bracer is a crucial slot in the build. I've already mentioned how illogically squishy Roland is, with no inherent defenses to back up the two close-range spenders, Sweep Attack and especially Shield Bash. The Ancient Parton defenders, proccing off of the high stun chance of the Trip Attack rune, will pick up the slack of the Roland set and protect you in big fights. Once you're down to fewer targets, especially ones that grow resilient to CC over time, like Elites and Guardians, it would be wiser to retreat, seek a fresh pack of normal mobs to reapply the Partons and let your Bowmen finish off the big guys. The final pieces, the weapon and offhand, are also crucial for the build. The weapon is the Golden Lance, a flail with the unique property of refunding wrath per enemy hit with sweep attack. While a furnace will be of more use for your bowmen, you will be wrath starved almost immediately, so with no way to proc to control the enemy and proc your ancient partons, you'll be left helpless. The Golden Lance on the other hand will keep you healed, protected and proccing your legendary gems. The shield is the usual suspect for a phalanx oriented build, the Unrelenting Phalanx, doubling the amount of archers at your side. On the topic of legendary gems, I've had the most success with Bane of the Trapped and Gem of Efficacious Toxin as damage amplifiers and the Pain Enhancer as a major source of additional physical damage. You could replace the Toxin gem with an Enforcer to strengthen the Bowman even further, but since it doesn't help your sweep attack at all, I found Toxin preferable for AoE and trash clearing. For Paragon points, I didn't deviate much from the standard account distribution, focusing on movement speed and vitality in the core section, CDR and crit stats in the offense section, all resistance, life percentage and armor in defense, and RCR, area damage and life on hit in utility. And this is it for the Rolands build. I hope that if not absolute confidence, then at least I inspired you to give the new set a spin and not discard it immediately. Now that I've talked about the build, I would like to thank the kind folks over at the Diablo subreddits and Diablo fans for all the support and all of the features they have given me throughout the months. If a year ago you told me that I would start a YouTube channel with over 12,000 subscribers and a Twitch page with over 3,000 followers, that I would represent Diablo at DreamHack and a week later I would get partnered with Twitch, if you told me that I would appear on the Battle.net front page, I would have laughed. My tenuous grasp at the English language is not adequate to express how grateful I am, but thank you, thank you, thank you. Until next time.